Hello, my name's Kira. Welcome to this class. This is a introduction to yoga, perfect for people who've never tried yoga before and are a little bit curious to find out more about it. So, yoga is a set of tools and techniques, a technology that comes from originally ancient India. And they're tools and techniques that can be really used to improve our health and well-being, and eventually to also take us on a journey of curiosity, a journey of befriending our body, finding out more about the inner workings of our mind, and eventually, hopefully, taking us to a place of calm and balance, bringing a bit more stillness into our lives. And along the way, hopefully, we get a bit stronger, a bit more flexible, a bit more comfortable in our physical bodies as well. So, what we're going to be doing today, we're just going to start with a little bit of breath work. We're going to do some warming up exercises. We're going to work with one particular yoga pose, which is called Goddess Pose. And then I'm just going to bring you to a place where I will leave you to do some relaxation. So do enjoy. If you have something like a belt of some kind, that would be really helpful. So I'm today using a judo belt. You could use a dressing gown cord or a tie or anything that you can use to just put around your foot. That's going to be very useful. I always bring props to yoga classes because they're really helpful for people who need a little bit of support to get into some of the poses. So to start, let's sit in any comfortable position. So you can sit on a chair, you can kneel, you can sit cross-legged. It's really up to you, but just sitting in a way where you feel quite grounded and connected to the floor or connected to your chair, and also lifting up into the crown of the head. So you're sitting up nice and straight. Just notice how you feel right at this moment. Maybe your mind feels quite busy. There's lots of things going on. Notice how your breath feels. Your breath might feel a bit shallow, might feel like it's all up here, or it might be down here, it might be deep, it might be quite uneven or regular. So just notice, be curious about what your breath is telling you. Your breath is a big clue as to what's going on in the nervous system and what's going on for you emotionally right now. And then bringing your hands, so just finding the top of your belly, the bottom of your rib cage, this bony part of the rib cage here, just placing your hands below that bony part. As you inhale, can you direct your breath down into the belly so that as you inhale, the belly expands and your fingers spread apart slightly. As you exhale, belly draws back towards the spine and the hands can press back towards the spine as well. Just breathing at your own pace. If you can make the breath a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. I'm going to add some arm movements. So inhaling, breathing into the belly, but also sweeping the arms up overhead. And exhaling, floating the arms back down again as the belly draws back towards the spine. Just going at your own pace. So your breath might be a little bit slower or a little bit faster than mine, and that's absolutely fine. And to bring your hands to your shoulders, just going to circle the shoulders. Inhaling, opening up the chest, taking the elbows back behind you a little bit. Exhaling, drawing the elbows together and separating the shoulder blades. For one circle of breath. Let the breath lead the practice. So if you need to breathe a bit faster, then you move a bit faster too. If you're able to breathe slower, then you can move slower. And circle back the other way. And then releasing the arms. Just notice how the shoulders feel now. You might feel a little bit of warmth or a little bit of energy around the shoulders. So from here, we're going to come to lying on our backs. Just making sure you've got your belt to hand. I'm just going to take the arms a little way away from the body, just about a foot or so. Exhaling, I'm going to drop the knees over to the right. Inhaling, lifting the back up to centre. And exhaling, dropping the knees over to the left. Inhaling, back to centre. Just keep going with your own breath. So we want the knees and the hips and the lower back to feel comfortable. We don't want to feel any sharp pains in these joints. What we do want to feel is some stretching going on in the muscles. So the muscles are the kind of the big, muscly parts of your legs, the muscles around your lower back. That's what we want to feel stretching. And then you've done an equal amount of both sides, bringing your knees back up to centre. We're just going to take the belt around one foot. So I've started with the right foot, but it doesn't matter too much. We're just going to draw circles with the foot. So the circles can start quite small. And just see how it feels. So if it feels really good, you could maybe make the circles a bit bigger. But again, if you feel any pinching and clunking, sharp pains in the hips, just make the circles smaller again. You're in control. You make this practice work for you. And then circling back the other way. If this feels too much, you could bend the leg. You could also get the same movement by bending the leg. That would be fine. Try to do one breath per circle. So if you notice that your breath is starting to get a bit fast again, can you slow the breath down? We're going to change legs. The easiest way to do that is to put both legs into the belts and then bring your first leg back down to the floor. Let's start circling on the other side. And remember, one side might feel a bit different to the other. So make the circles work for you, make them the right size for you. Bend your knee if you need to. No, you do you. And then circling back in the other direction. And then just releasing the belt to the floor. And just putting it out of the way. This time I'm just going to bring one hand to each knee and just circle the knees. So the knees are moving in opposite directions. As we exhale, we draw the knees towards us and out to the sides. Inhaling, taking the knees away and back together again. Again, let the breath move. Looking back in the other direction. And releasing the feet to the floor. From here, we're going to come to sitting upright. Just going to take the feet about hip distance apart, maybe a little wider. And again, we're just going to do that same windscreen wiper motion, just see how it feels from this position. Exhaling, dropping the knees to one side. Inhaling back to centre, just letting the body follow. So there's a little bit of a twist in the body. But again, if you feel any sharp pains, any pinching, just stop. So it doesn't need to be a big movement. It could be a very small movement, like so. Just see what works for you. And then when you feel like you've done an equal amount on both sides, we're going to take the feet out to the sides. So today I'm going to keep my knees quite bent. If you're feeling quite bendy, you could straighten your legs out. That would be fine. But most will find it a little bit easier with the legs bent. So we're going to take the hands out front. So we're just going to start by making little circles, like you're stirring a teacup with a very long spoon. And then if all this feels good, you can start to make the circles a bit bigger, like perhaps you're stirring soup. And my cat's come to say hello. and then circling back in the other direction. And again, you might find that now you can straighten up your legs, or you may feel more comfortable with the legs bent. Again, we can work with the breath here. So I like to exhale as I'm folding forwards, and inhale as I'm leaning back. And you can feel your tummy muscles just firming up a little bit as you lean back. And then when you feel like you've done enough, we'll just release that, let that go. And then you choose how you want to come to standing today. So we're going to find ourselves standing with the feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart and the toes turning out somewhat. So depending on how flexible your hips are, if you've got really super flexible hips, you can turn out the toes quite widely. If your hips are not so flexible, keep the toes pointing a bit more forwards. Let your tailbone drop down towards the floor like you've got rocks in your jeans pocket. And then bend the knees and just have a look at where the knees are heading. So you want your knees to be heading out over your middle toes. If your knees are heading inside your big toes, then you either need to open up the hips more or you need to bring the feet to point forwards. So what you want is the knees to be heading over the middle toes. So once we're confident that we've got that, we can start to work a little bit more deeply. Eventually, the pose we're going to come to is goddess pose, which looks like this. But we're going to start by working a bit more dynamically. So we'll start by bringing the hands to the chest. We're going to exhale, pushing forwards like you're pushing something heavy away. Inhale, pulling back towards you. Exhale, pushing something heavy away. Inhale, pulling it back towards you. Look at something really heavy. Using the breath to keep ourselves steady and focused. We want the knees and the hips to be comfortable, but we want the thighs, the thigh muscles, to be doing a bit of work. So if your thighs are starting to really talk to you, that's all good. And I'm going to push out to the side, exhaling, inhaling, pulling back in. If your leg muscles are starting to feel like they're warming up, doing a bit of work, that's all good. Keep focused on the breath. Use the breath to take you through it. Be present to all the sensations you can feel. See how much you can notice. And bring the hands to the hips. We'll just pause for a moment. And then we're going to drop the hips and hold. See how you feel. If this feels really comfortable, you can maybe go a little bit lower. If it feels too much, you can come up a bit higher, and that's absolutely fine. We're going to add some arms. So we're going to bring the thumbs and the index fingers to touch. This is called Chin Mudra. And we're on goddess pose here. So in the Indian tradition, goddesses are pretty fierce. So see if you can channel your fierce feminine energy to really power you through this pose. The courage and the softness, the strength of the goddess. We all have feminine energy, whether we're men, women, non-binary, whatever. We all have feminine energy. We all have masculine energy. Here we're channeling the feminine. And then releasing the legs. And let's just walk the feet forwards. You can just loosen up the hips, let go of any tension that's built up. Just going to bring a little bit of a bend into the knees. I'm going to fold forward halfway with a nice flat back. So you're pushing your tailbone to the back of the room, pushing the crown of the head to the front of the room. Take a nice big breath here. And now either staying here, or if you feel like you could stretch a bit further, you can bring your hands down to the floor. Maybe relax the head and shoulders. And then bending the knees. And today we're all going to put our hands on our thighs, give ourselves a little bit of support as we come back up to standing. Heel toe the feet together, a little hop, and then come back down to the floor. And most people's favourite part of the class is relaxation. So I haven't unfortunately got time to guide you through relaxation today, but I'll just show you. So you can either lie on your back with the knees together, feet slightly apart, or you can let your legs lay down along the floor. And then just see what you can do to make your body a little bit more comfortable. Just scanning through the body, noticing if there's any part of the body where you could release some tension. Letting the body sink down. And if you've got time, I would really encourage you to just take 5 or 10 minutes to rest. Most of us don't rest enough in our busy lives. But I'm going to leave you here. So, coming out to relaxation if you're coming with me. And thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure to guide you through this beginners yoga class, and I would love to see you in my beginners class, which is on Wednesdays at the St Michael Centre in Abergavenny, 6 o'clock. I also have gentle class and 2 intermediate classes as well. So it's been a pleasure to guide you through this first yoga class, and I hope that this is the beginning of your yoga journey.